Tuli eno mu Palament Joel Ssenyonyi atta omuntu anti omusolo omujja nagwo oguleeteddwa kati ebintu bingi bateekawo bye bali mu kuteekateekamu okulaba nga bongera okunyigiriza Munnayuganda, okulaba nga bongera okunyigiriza munnansi, okumukanula okumukekenula paka ku ssaawa esembayo bizinesi zigandi baziggalewo olwo baziteekemu abagwira. Kati no Joel Ssenyonyi akubye emmeeza akalambidde ku close ku buwaayiro ku wakatirwa obuli mu kuteekebwa mu tteeka lino ery'omusolo omujja agamba nti kijja kusoboka mu Uganda yaffe eno akisusse obw'omulamuzi. Akankutwale mu Palamenti osooke weerabire ku Joel Ssenyonyi Bisekezi nga akuba emmeeza.
Yeah, obviously our thoughts have been captured regarding the legalese and so on, but I just wanted to inquire whether there should not have, maybe government can tell us, because the traders have been up in arms. They did meet us, they've raised concerns, and they were saying they would like to see threshold come down from 18 to 16%. Just a quick question. And also threshold from 150 million to 1 million. Do listen to this so that you can respond as government.
There's a procedure.
Was it not maybe necessary? Okay.
Right, Honorable Speaker. The issues, the matter that the LOP is raising might be very pertinent. However, is it procedurally right that he would bring it at this point because it's not in reference to any of the clause that we are discussing?
Right, Honorable, if I could finish the issue I was raising.
Honorable members, can we finish this? Then we raise that to not to spoil the Hansard. We move. I put a question that clause 10 be deleted.
Chair, before you
as
proceed,
proposed
Chair,
by
yes.
the chair of the committee. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Title. Chair, I think there is something quite important.
I put a question that the title stands part of the bill.
Chair,
Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The tax expert, you advise the young boy.
No,
That
Chair,
we
Chair, actually,
first hold on.
Chair, actually, I request that.
Chair, first it. You'll say it. You'll say it. You'll say it. I'll give you time.
Motion for resumption of the House.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Chair, I beg to move a motion that the House do resume and the committee of the whole House reports there too.
I put a question that the House resumes and the committee of the whole House reports there too. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. One young brilliant man that Mbale should be proud of. Yes, you people, Honorable Loeb had a very pertinent issue. He had a very pertinent issue. Musale, sit down.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for protecting me from my fellow Msoga. Anyhow, we are Ugandan, so we belong everywhere. But very importantly, Right Honorable Speaker, you know, when the traders reached out to us as Parliament and as leaders, we understand there were meetings scheduled with the executive. They did reach out to yourself, Madam Speaker. They reached out to us as well, and they had critical concerns. The assumption that they have been having is that this bill is one of the remedies to their concerns. Now, they are wondering the remedies exactly that are coming through, because they had certain proposals. They wanted VAT lessened to 16%, threshold from 150 million to 1 billion, and several other issues. Whether members here agree with them or not, but they did have these concerns. They still have these concerns, Right Honorable Speaker. To date, though, government has not given us an update. Not long ago, they told us there was going to happen a meeting to harmonize and so on. but this House has not been kept in the loop on what exactly is happening. So the traders are going to assume that we have now responded to their concerns through this bill, which is not the truth. So maybe government at this point needs to update us. What exactly is happening? Did we just push the matters of the traders under the rug and we have moved on swiftly? Because the traders have not moved on, and they said if these concerns are not addressed, they will protest again. I don't know whether we want to keep having a back and forth, because when they put down their tools, close their shops, the economy is affected. So can we get a proper remedy? Because this bill here is not a remedy.
Thank you. Honorable members, what we are doing is legislation. The matters that is being raised are policy matters. Can we have the response from the minister on policy issues as we do legislation?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is true there are a number of concerns raised on tax administration by the traders, specifically surrounding around the use of IFRIS. Madam Speaker, we have had a number of engagements at various stages, and tomorrow at 11, we'll be at Kororo engaging with
Bill second reading, the Tax Procedures Code Amendment Bill 2024.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I beg to move a motion that the Tax Procedures Code Amendment Bill 2024 be read for the second time.
Seconded. Seconded. Seconded by Amero, Connie, Ochan, Emmanuel, Achuti.
Difficult to state reliably how much revenue this bill will generate.
Especially that some clauses will be rejected. Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, what I have here, similar to what the minister has read, the addendum, as he's calling it, the one for Tax Procedures Code, let me read this verbatim. Estimates of revenue. Revenue is expected from improved compliance, but cannot be quantified at present. In that very one he has read is also saying it cannot be quantified at present. You see, the law again is clear. Section 76 of the PFMA, which also gets to come through our rules, 118. So the law says the certificate shall, not may, shall have estimates of revenue and the expenditure. Now, when you come and say, we cannot estimate at the moment, because you see, it is not saying give us the exactness. It is saying shall contain an estimate. Now, even in your correction, because we told you go and do corrections, the corrections you have done need corrections. Because here, you're also saying the revenue expected cannot be quantified at present. That's what was in the earlier certificate, which was considered defective. So in this very one, you're also saying cannot be quantified. Deal with what the law is saying.
First answer that.
Madam Chair, the law referred to the Tax Procedures Code. And in the Tax Procedures Code, the substance of this bill was clause 2, which deals with destruction of goods. What we are telling you is that at this stage, it is very difficult to measure the extent of damage of trading stock. it is very difficult to measure how much stock will expire in the period. It is very difficult to measure the extent to which stock will be obsolete. And as a result of that, this is why we are saying
there is an order from.
Right, Honorable Speaker. And my colleague Musasi knows that I'm a former minister for science, innovation, and communications technology. Right, Honorable Speaker, I do respect the Honorable Minister for Finance, but with due respect, Honorable Musasi, you are taking this house for granted. We are talking about a certificate of financial implication. Leave aside this on the penal code, but come to the stamp duty. And the other one you first submitted on Friday, there is nothing like financials. You are speaking a lot of history. You are doing a lot of wording without anything like a computation. Right, Honorable Speaker, with your indulgence, can the Minister for Finance be given time to get back to his office and use his technical team? No, to bring a certificate of financial implication. Right, Honorable Speaker, this 11th Parliament cannot be taken for granted. So the point of order I'm raising, are you in order to come and mislead the House by reading history instead of bringing figures on this floor?
My friend Honorable Namuga, don't worry. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform Honorable Namuga and the House
No, procedure.
in respect.
No procedure.
Are we here for procedure or substance? That in respect of income tax, we give estimates of revenue. In respect of excise duty, we give estimates of revenue. In respect of VAT, I also provided information on revenue.
Honorable members, we need to understand the kind of taxes we are dealing with. When somebody says you may not be able to anticipate what kind of goods will be destroyed at what particular time, tax expert.
Madam Speaker, these tax laws we make are sometimes helping the administration of URA to do correct collection. And the minister is right to say, as you improve the systems, you reduce on maybe the cost of collecting those taxes, but you may not come up really to quantify what is happening. For example, we are right now, URA has a stock of how much money they are demanding from taxpayers, which includes both principal and interest, already taken care of in the last law bill. So they're saying now, it's already on our books as debtors now because we're government. Now, when you improve, you will be reducing on debtors paying so that you have a cash flow. I think, Madam Speaker, I don't want us really to record.
Honorable members,
Madam Speaker,
I know each of us has a specialty. We all have specialty. You get it, eh? We all have a specialty. When you get from somebody who has, let's learn from each other. We are not saying we know everything. Let's learn from each other and say, okay, if I don't know anything about stamp duty, if I don't know anything about VAT, let me be able to understand from a person who has knowledge on it. Now, I have not picked, listen to me. I first picked a member of NRM. I have picked a person from opposition. And I have picked a person from opposition whom I know worked in URA under that section for how many years? Over 20 years. And I'm asking, okay, now let me hear from Katesh. Katesh, by the way, was a commissioner.
Right, Honorable Chair. You know, there are things we should do. We should just analyze practically. On this particular one, we may have chosen the minister of not being adequate on others. But let's look at this particular clause. It is more futuristic. It is saying when the taxpayer, at the time he's going to report the destroyed goods, where do you expect the minister at this point to know how many taxpayers in future will apply to have goods destroyed? Number two, even on the cost involved for that particular one, hold on. The minister has indicated that the costs involved will be taken care of through the normal operations of the existing URA budget. So for this particular clause, I don't think we should be arguing about the figures because it is more futuristic.
Madam Speaker, I think we need to understand why the law was made the way it was. The fact that the minister wants the law changed, the lawyers say there must be a mischief that you are seeking to cure. Even if you didn't do economics, what you will come here and tell Parliament, because the law that is being referred to here that we have just changed, the Tax Procedures Code, you want to be present when goods are being destroyed, which is innocent. All that you need to do is to look at the history. How many of such incidents happened last financial year? And then you will know they were worth how much. But you can't come here and claim with your economics that I cannot quantify. Let's not hide. Where you made a mistake, I agree, and then say sorry and we move on. But you can't come here and say it is difficult to quantify because these goods they have been destroyed before and you know how worth they were. So that's the figure you bring here and say, because of this, we have lost so much income because you are not present and we can't.
Honorable members, we will not debate in anticipation. Maybe let's first hear from the reports, both reports, so that the report should be able to educate us what it is. This time.
Madam Speaker, you are right. Let us. Madam Speaker, I want to state this. I am not. If there are people who are good at dancing, I am not good at it. But when I'm coming to state, I want us to have real respect for each other. No, don't worry, we shall deal with it. You see, even the media have talked about me, but I know if somebody is talking about you when it doesn't matter, you don't need to worry. So, Madam Speaker, what we're raising is that where we know an issue has a point, we'll always raise. If they're going to destroy goods, for example, as they have said, what is the problem? The URA staff are the one to go, that's the past. Now, when they are talking of something which is going to streamline operations, it is just improving operations, but the man will be continuing to be paid the same salary while doing the work in a better format. So I want to state that we know all of you have a lot of knowledge, but where you have limited knowledge, please.
Honorable members, yes, Mehdi.
I know it was just
that was a slip of the tongue.
Humorous from the Honorable Nanda.
Isaac.
My colleague, comrade, Honorable Isaac. All right, Honorable
Isaac,
Speaker.
I will ask you to say sorry for making noise.
All right, Honorable Speaker, I think we should put more emphasis and focus on the Stamp Duty Act amendment. And that's where we are going. The other one is more futuristic, definitely. And coming up with an estimate is therefore to give people projection of what they intend to achieve so that we can explain. But I was waiting for the minister, mainly from the stamp duty one. I know it's promotional in form of businesses, trying to protect businesses through angel investors, etc., and venture capitalists. Now, tell us what you're trying to cure here, what will gain in the future, probably, because most you're proposing in the stamp duty are really like exemptions. Are you trying to promote clean environment? Are we bound by something? So try to tell us that by the exemptions you're proposing, right, Honorable Minister for Finance, this is what we exactly achieve, and you try to quantify it. And you say that the estimate of what we intend to achieve.
Not all achievements can be quantified.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the value can be given. Definitely, not everything can be quantified, but let's see what we intend to achieve. And if so, what is the mischief you're trying to cure here? By saying probably we frustrated company X, Y, and Z that intended to invest in Uganda, but as a result of our policy of taxing the manufacture of maybe tools that are used in manufacturing electric vehicles, it diverted and went to this country.
Okay.
What are you trying to
I
cure?
get.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, all the reports, including this one, they're talking about inadequacy of the certificate. When the certificate is presented to us here, who is analyzing it to see whether it is now adequate? There's no analysis of the certificate. We are just tabling it as a formality and set it aside. So for me, my procedural issue I wanted to raise, whether actually have anyone that is analyzing the certificate, which had been deemed to be inadequate. That's one. Number two, a minister that is privileged to have economists that can project for years, even 10 years. We even have the NRM 40 years of vision. How can such a minister come to the floor of Parliament and tell us that he cannot project revenue that will be earned in a year? That's an insult to this Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, we're in the budgeting process. This budget is being informed by projections. We are projecting revenue from each source where we are likely to get money. How could the minister come and stand before the floor and say he cannot project while actually he's budgeting? Is the minister informing us now that he has no budget to tell us? Because the whole budget is full of estimates. And one of the estimates in the budget is actually money from this stamp duty. So I agree with the colleague that the minister taking us for granted. He has just refused to give us information. He has this information with him. He must inform us how much money he projects that will come from this stamp duty. Number two, as we move forward, we need to know who is analyzing these certificates to tell us whether right now they are adequate or inadequate, because the two reports, all the reports have condemned his certificate for having been inadequate. The colleague is giving me information and I'm willing to take it.
Additional information is from the mathematician.
Honorable, you just don't take the microphone. You just don't take the. Can I hear from Richard?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Honorable colleagues.
I see how you people are putting too much emotions in this. You need to relax. Relax. Calm down. Relax. Don't put too much emotion. I don't have an ambulance here. You relax. You relax. There are things that we have to go and discuss on this, especially on the issues of land, on the issues of what. There are issues we are supposed to discuss on fuel.
Madam Chair, thank you so much. I want to draw the attention of the entire House to the nature of the law we are looking at. This is not a revenue generation or generating law. It is a preventive law. So for a preventive law, you cannot in any way assume that you can project a revenue that will come from it. The law is stating that if you are to destroy stock, then you must report to URA. So how do you expect the minister to put a figure to such a projection, such a law?
Projection.
Because if you want him to use the past information, it will not work that way. Because This is a preventive law. It is going
Richard,
to cease.
Richard, we are on a
manner in which this is being introduced is not good for the country. So I agree with Honorable Nanda that both the minister, Musasi here, needs to be seriously whipped so that next time we don't see such an ugly thing in this floor.
Honorable Musasisi, we are going to whip you. And Auditor General.
Speaker, that's why God made you to be in that office.
Honorable Nanda, more
Work for
information.
people.
Right Honorable Nanda, more information. Right Honorable Speaker, I was the shadow minister a few months ago. It seems the same reason I've seen in that letter are the very reason they gave last year. Even last year, they came here with an extension of 1 year. The other year we said, let's give them 1 year and conduct a parliamentary investigation. Me, Honorable.
We actually did a parliamentary investigation.
Yes, we did a parliamentary investigation. And Honorable Kateshi, myself, Honorable Nandala, and the Cap Tayewa spent many months investigating Bujagali. We did not only establish that Bujagali could pay tax, corporate tax, profit tax, is that actually they were making money out of, and they ought to pay Uganda money. Now, you begged us, we give them 1 year. And I remember even personally begged, 1 year, accept 1 year, so that they can clear their house. They're coming back to say, we now beg you for another year. Those will be now 3 years. And before we know it, they would have achieved the 5 years they wanted. Right, Honorable Speaker, I think right now, enough tariffs go high. Even after all, we have a lot of power on our grid. Let us now take leverage of the dams which we have built and refuse this extension of Bujagali. Because what is happening, Right Honorable Speaker, is becoming impunity. They take this parliament for granted. They don't respect the processes. Last minute, they sneak in a calendar. After all, this parliament will say, yes, let us refuse and see what will happen in this country. Otherwise, enough is enough.
Madam Speaker, I would have been persuaded by number one, if the audit report was ready, and number two, if the former Shadow Minister of Finance, my friend Honorable Chivumbi, wouldn't have seized the power, price go high. Madam,
You know, the mistake the Katesh group made was to recommend that Auditor General should do a forensic. Huh? You can answer from this side.
Madam
Let the chair.
It's important, as colleagues are saying, that we don't get blackmailed as Parliament. The tariffs are high already. People actually keep complaining of the high tariffs. So when we say, if this is not passed, the tariffs are going to go higher, people are saying, wait a minute, the tariffs are already high. It's a problem. So before we give another green light, right, Honorable Speaker, we need to insist and say, let that audit be done. If it is our fault that that audit has not been done, then let's check ourselves and fix that issue. Because otherwise, then we might make two mistakes. So that if we are giving it another green light, we know it makes sense. Because as of now, we are thinking, what are we giving a go ahead to? It's kind of similar to when we were discussing the Magola issue, money. To say we are extending money to them, but we have not done valuation. We don't know how much equity, how much stake we are going to have in this. So it's as if we are moving blindly. So I want to suggest that we do not move blindly. But the other issue quickly, Right Honorable Speaker, is regarding these waivers. In this very house, Right Honorable Speaker, we have tasked the Minister of Finance to table here a list of all the beneficiaries of tax waivers. Right Honorable Speaker, that list has never come. I do not know why they keep holding on to that list. We have tasked the Minister of Finance severally to table here a list of all the beneficiaries of tax waivers. So as the minority report is actually asking specifically about those to benefit from this one.
The current list of the tax waivers. The current one, we didn't have any. The ones that were there were presented to the committee, and it swims. The committee is not comfortable with. Committee, what happened to the tax waivers? You're not satisfied with explanations.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, we requested for more information through the Honorable Minister of Finance. We requested for more information from the Uganda Revenue Authority.
So
this information was brought at the tail end when we were so much engrossed in these tax bills and the rationalization bills. So we have the information, we have not processed it yet.
Okay. The list was brought.
Actually, some members on this end are saying that list was not provided. So maybe for us to safeguard the minister, I think it would be good that he tables it here, so that tomorrow no one says that list was not tabled, and then it gets to be sent to the committee.
Leader of opposition.
Yes, right, Honorable.
It was tabled here. I forwarded it to the Committee of Finance.
The issue, right, Honorable, we have always wanted.
And I think maybe you're not just sharing information with your shadow. He needs to get to know what is there.
Right, Honorable Speaker, the issue has always been completeness of everybody that gets to be a beneficiary. And that's been our course. Okay, let me take this information.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to give information to the leader of the opposition in this aspect. First, the report that we adopted in this House did not order the Auditor General to do a forensic audit into Bujagali. The report we adopted had two directives to the Auditor General. The first one was to audit the government shareholding, because government is a shareholder, but Bujagali, the BEL, has never treated government as one of its owners. Government does not participate in the meeting, etc. The second one was about the 15 million USD expenses to UETCL. But there were so many other recommendations that we made. For example, that URA recovers corporation tax of USD 63 million, almost more than 200. URA, it was a directive of this House that Uganda Revenue Authority should go and audit and recover. That one does not need the Auditor General to help URA. We had also said that government should go and negotiate the power purchase agreement to provide for a cap on the returns on investment. You remember the formulas were provided to us here. Thirdly, we had also said that when the president first sought the exemption here, I think in 2017, for 5 years, and the minister was here. In the 5 years, we had thought the power tariffs would reduce from, I think, 11 that time to 8. But instead, it went to 13. Immediately, we granted here, it went from 11 at that time to 13. 2 months instead of coming back to 8. So those were the issues that we had proposed. So it is not correct and true that these explanations that we are giving here is irrelevant. The House took its decision. In fact, if we displayed the recommendation adopted by this House on one side and what we are discussing now, this House would appear to be the most unserious. You cannot turn against your own recommendation and then you start meandering around. It's not possible.
Let me end. He was giving me information. Let me end with this general statement, right, Honorable Speaker. The reason we are insisting on this question of the exemptions and the waivers, the Auditor General's report is a bit worrying, because if we are exempting to the tune of 1.417 trillion, ideally, the backing is, yes, when you exempt, as long as it feeds into the economy, creation of jobs, that's normally the explanation given, yeah? But you see, these are people we are giving free land and all these other incentives, and then there's waivers to the tune of 1.417 trillion shillings. In the meantime, we are now going after the ordinary folks, increasing tax on fuel and all these different things. There is a problem when we don't balance these things up. And that's why it would be good that ultimately we get that processed report from the committee of who these exemptees are, how do they get to qualify, because that's important for this house to get to know. And then we are sure these people do qualify, it is justifiable, because at some point we'd hear there are companies whose proprietors are unwell, there are companies which are heavily indebted, but the business people downtown are saying they're also heavily indebted. They get loans from banks and so on. So if you're exempting these ones, how about the others? So there's got to be a proper balancing act. Let me take that information in 30 seconds, with your permission.
Thank you very much, Lop. Thank you very much, Lop. Lop, the information I wanted to give you that the tax exemptions for Bujagali started in 2012. And they were meant to last for only 5 years. And they were supposed to end in 2017. These extensions have been going on since 2017. They added another 5 years up to 2022. And when they came here the last time, they said exactly the information my brother has provided, that power tariffs are going to reduce to our decime 2 months down the road. They instead just increased. So, honorable members, who is Bujagali? Why are they always on the list of exemptions, even when it is against the taxpayers? Look, that's the information I wanted to give you. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, I think we need to, with certainty, because many times we resolve and give timelines and say this ought to happen. We want to be safe to say, if we are going to avail this money to give a green light, when does this audit get to come? Because me, I'm even happy to say, if an audit is available and it makes all the economic sense, we go ahead. But now we are operating in the dark. We need to know how soon can we have an audit before we say, go ahead and receive this money.
Elijah, you first sit.
Before the minister comes.
First sit, Elijah. Elijah, first sit.
Madam Speaker, I do appreciate the concerns the House is raising. And as most of you know, I have been at the center of this Bujagali transaction since 2017, when it first came here. I was the chairman of the Finance Committee then. Madam Speaker, I want to propose a way forward. The issue is we must make a decision based on the audit. The audit has delayed.
Lop is asking how much time?
I want now to commit to persuade this audit within 6 months from now.
6 months.
Within 6 months from now, we have this audit in place.
Honorable members? Okay.
You see why I'm pressing you hard for timelines is because we resolve things here and many times they're not followed. Yeah, the ad hoc report that we adopted here, this was the conclusion. Therefore, the committee strongly calls upon Parliament to compel the government to renegotiate with Bujagali Energy Limited the terms in the PPA before deciding to extend the tax waiver. This is in addition to recovery of all excess payments and application of proper figures in the calculation capacity payments going forward. This you did not do. Now you want us to believe you that in 6 months you're going to produce an audit. I want to be able to believe you, Honorable Minister. But you're not helping me to believe you.
Honorable Lop.
Yes, right, Honorable.
Honorable Lop, as we leave this house, I am going to have a letter to Auditor General that this is a resolution of the House we need audit report from Bujagali. But the negotiation, did you go and negotiate?
Maybe finally, right, Honorable, because this is something we passed. What's the timeline to this? Because this was February of last year. So we are now in May. Over a year has passed. So you see, that's the challenge. When we ask you to do something and you don't do it, we struggle to believe you as government.
Honorable Ssenyonyi,
And we'll give you a call.
I'm sure me and you know that we still have the best years ahead of us. There are things I wouldn't want to put on my profile by promising what we cannot deliver. I want to pray and I want to beg you and colleagues that let me go through this budget process good enough next week. God willing, we are concluding the budget process, and then I follow. And report back.
I want to remind.
Honorable members,
Right, Honorable Speaker.
maybe you have just come back. We have been sitting. We have been sitting here. I put a question that the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2024 be read a second time. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The Income Tax Amendment Bill 2024, Bills Committee stage. Clause 1.
Clause 1. I put a question that clause 1 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
I put a question that clause 2 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 3.
Deletion.
Madam Chair and honorable colleagues, clause 3, which means insertion of section 5A to the Principal Act, we propose that this clause be deleted. And the justification is there is already a capital gains tax arising from the sale of shares in the private limited company, limited liability company provided under section 21K of the Income Tax Act. Imposing a rate of 5% will cause a conflict in the implementation of the provision. 2, land being a factor of production should not be subjected to a tax since it has the effect of increasing the cost of doing business. 3, the proposal is discriminatory and not equitable since it proposes a tax to tax land in cities or municipalities. The proposal imposes challenges on tax administration and causes challenges of under-declaration. Capital gains is on capital assets used in businesses, and as such, land is not a business asset. Rental property is subject to rental tax under Section 5 of the Act. The proposal to impose a 5% tax upon disposal is unjustifiable and ambiguous. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Madam Chair, I concede.
I put a question that clause 3 be deleted as proposed. Those in favor said the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
Clause 4.
Madam Chair, I propose to insert in clause 4 of the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2024 a proposed amendment to Section 21 of the Income Tax Act to read as follows. 1. By inserting immediately after clause 4A of the bill the following. 4B, the income of Bujagali hydropower project up to June 30th, 2025, and by renaming clause 4B of the bill to become clause 4C. I submit, Madam Chair.
Chair,
Chair.
Madam Chair, I heard the proposal saying 6 months. And what the Honorable Minister has read seemed to say 1 year.
what we are making? We make it a year, bills are 1 year.
6 months.
Madam Speaker, the chair speaks on behalf of the committee. The committee has not sat. You can't come here and speak as the chair of the committee on this matter. If the Honorable Musasi wants to push it himself, please don't aid him. Which committee did you convene to deal with this matter?
I will slap you now.
Right Honorable Speaker, the proposal that was brought here and discussed proposes a 1 year exemption. And the exemption of the Bujagali dam. And we therefore, I agree with what the minister has proposed. Madam Chair, the agreement I have is that these bills are for 1 year. We cannot propose any less.
Honorable members, we need a commitment from government. Wait, and I hear from government.
Right Honorable Speaker, in addition to what the Minister of Finance has stated, we all know that we amend the tax-related laws every financial year. But we wish to pray that within 6 months, the Ministry of Finance will update the House on what the House requires in terms of reports from the Office of the Auditor General.
Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, Madam Chair, you remember what Honorable Jonathan read?
Yes.
The Lopez mentioned.
There was another issue of negotiation.
No, and those were reports. We remember here the Attorney General committed that he will do it. The Minister of Finance committed, and whatever. Now the remaining part was for Attorney General to the tail end. What the minister should come at? What you were told to do? How far have you gone? Don't go to Attorney General. Attorney General is Office of Parliament. Let us deal with you on the refund. Let us deal with you. Yeah, tax areas. Let us deal with you on the negotiation. Those are your parts. The Auditor General was saying, get us exactly how much they have stolen. That's what we're looking for, because here the Committee of Parliament got $63 million, but they could have stolen more than that. If Lemon Essex Rivers can get $63 million, what about the others? So these are the things we're trying to look.
Chair.
Have some.
Jonah,
I was here.
eh,
I request.
Jonah. Jonah.
Because Jonah didn't stand up.
I know, I was standing.
After that, Budu will speak.
Yeah. Madam Chair, I first want the House to address its mind on how bills from government find itself to this House. A bill from government like this would have been discussed in cabinet. And a cabinet white paper presented. There is no way a cabinet would miss that. The casual nature in which this proposal is coming is suspicious.
Very suspicious.
And I want to invite your attention, the casual nature in which this letter is coming, an afterthought by some people who think that it is. I will accept the information.
Thank you, Honorable, for giving way.
Now,
Honorable
now
Chair.
you people stop grabbing microphones.
No, he gave me information.
Okay, let's turn over clause 4. Let's 5 first. Let's first go to 5. Go to 5.
Clause 5.
Honorable Chair.
Clause 5.
Procedure, Honorable Chair.
I
Honorable
put
Chair.
I put a question that clause 5 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
As you reconcile the clause 4, we are moving on. Reconcile with the honor
Clause 6.
and the love. Clause 6.
We finished 5.
Clause 6. I put a question that clause 6 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 7.
I put a question that clause 7 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 8.
I put a question that clause 8 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
There is amendment in clause 9. Yes, there's amendment.
Madam Chair, in clause 9, I just wanted to give a clarification because I had colleagues saying that we are imposing yet another tax, yet we had exempted. No, the exemption here that we said earlier is for money coming in. So we are saying that when money has come in and they have made a profit, when it is going away, let the government benefit from that you've made. That is all. Yes.
If that's the case, then its interest should be treated at the same rate. Because, yes, if the withholding tax on the interest is 10%, why should we make others 2%? So I would make a proposal that if you have now decided that interest should be liable to tax, then it should be applicable everywhere. Yeah, because for example, I've gone to Kenya Commercial Bank, I have borrowed money, and I'm now paying back. For me, I'll be subjected to withholding tax of 10%. For you, you go and negotiate somebody with money in the bag, he brings here and calls it a debenture, you want him to pay 2%. If we have all agreed that we should pay money which has made a profit out, the rate should be the same, so long as it is interest.
Chair.
That's the withholding tax rate of 10%. And Madam Chair, this is under schedule. Schedule, I think, schedule. No. I think if we have agreed, Madam Chair, interest is under withholding tax. For example, in the schedule on dividend is 15%. On interest, third schedule, part what? Third schedule part, withholding tax on interest, it's 15%. Madam Chair, instead of 2%, for purposes of uniformity, it should also be 15%. One, because we want to collect money, tax. Two, there is no difference from the interest from a debenture and the interest from a bank.
Madam Chair, I think my brother here, what you are proposing is suicidal for this country. Because, you know, I raised a matter here that we should reduce our appetite to tax capital and production. The proposal you are raising automatically will lead to very high interest rates. So how do you expect the economy to survive? So I think for me, because the moment you put interest,
We are taxing interest.
yes, you see, you are trying to make Uganda a competitive destination for capital. Now, if you want to raise you put high taxes on interest rates, money will go in other jurisdictions. So we should not. No, I'm telling my brother Honorable Nandal that if we have to take the 2%, my chair here wants to give information. We cannot take the route of 15% or 10%. It's very suicidal.
Honorable Chair, Madam Chair, and honorable colleagues, when we understand the genesis of the money that we are trying to attract, cheap money into the economy, and the reason for which we've given an exemption for money that is being brought here, then you understand that the tax that is applied when they are taking out the interest has a direct bearing and effect on the money when he's bringing it, because he's privy to how much we are going to charge him when he's taking out the interest. And therefore, we bear in mind that whereas we are attracting him at an exemption at bringing the money, even then, the percentage, the 2% should be lower to enable him pay something, but also have brought in money at a cheaper rate.
Karim.
What we need to agree is that this is a tax on their income. And when you look at the third schedule, 2% is actually quite abnormal, because all the rates that are here, I think you check on page 155, you'll see that even residents are charged at 15%. There are those for contractors who are non-residents are also charged at 15%, winning bets 15%. So everywhere we have 15%. So you're suggesting 2%, I think it's quite low. It's quite abnormal, because this is a percentage on the profit, their income, not on what they are bringing into the country.
Just a second. Madam Chair.
You first hear from Mehdi, then you respond.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I would like to refer to the submission of the Honorable Kate Shumba and the Chair. When we are trying to resist the temptation for exemptions at stamp duty, they said, please desist from overtaxing capital. The House was persuaded. And they said, wait for that money to stream until those people make profit. Now, we've reached at the tail end. Now the narrative is, don't even tax that, because they won't come back. It will seem unattractive. Now I can tell you, your very same statement is contradictory, because if I make anything here as a resident lender or fund or whatever, I pay that 15%. And it's here. The withholding tax rate for interest and dividend payments to a resident person under section 117 and 118, excluding interest on government securities, is clearly 15%. Therefore, where is the fairness in this taxation? And what do you want to encourage?
Let me clarify before information comes in. We are not saying that let there be no taxation. We are saying avoid excessive taxation that will discourage someone from coming to this jurisdiction with cheap capital. So the 2% that the chair has talked about, my argument was against the proposal which Honorable Nanda raised out of desperation, actually, to say that you put it at 10%. This is not your money. If people find Uganda with a high tax regime, they will invest somewhere else. So we can take 2%. We can take 2%, and that is consistent with the statement I made from the beginning.
Honorable Katesh, when you look at this, the third schedule is talk 4 and 5, income tax rates for non-resident persons, and then withholding tax rates for interest and dividends for resident persons. It is at 15%. Where did you get your 2%? What was the basis? Because this is on interest rates. At least the other one was on capital. We left it. But now we are talking, we are saying, why are you reducing? And yet we are looking for money.
Madam Chair, I beg the indulgence of colleagues that we thank you. Madam Chair, the argument of Honorable Katesh was that can we create an environment of allowing the capital to come in? Yes, which the House agreed with. Madam Chair, I have consulted with my technical bench and would like to drop this proposal.
So clause 9 is not amended. It is stands part of the bill. It is deleted.
Madam Chair, then now that's why let us make me a proposal. You see, sometimes that's why you need to study these laws and to do research. So, Madam Chair, I want to move an amendment that clause 9 be deleted.
I put a question that clause 9 be deleted. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 10.
Clause 10, I put a question that clause 10 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11.
I put a question that clause 11 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 12.
I put a question that clause 12 stands part of the.
Madam Chair. You see, you see, we're creating weaknesses.
Clause 12.
Clause 12. This is again bring laziness in your area. This they say that a person who to whom is this up shall time of filing returns submit transfer. That is your job. My job is to file my return, tell you I did my business, and it is up to you. And Madam Chair, this is bringing real incompetence in the URA. I want to move an amendment that clause 12 be deleted.
Yes.
Is it really in order for a committee member to come here and start arguing and bring amendments after failing to attend the committee meetings and yet following the committee rules? Is it fair? Madam Speaker, is Honorable Nandala in order?
Honorable Enos, I thought we're in a committee of the whole house.
Madam Chair, committee of the whole house. We are he's part of the report that we submitted. How can he argue against the reports that we submitted?
Honorable Katonto Abudu, I think you didn't do a good job.
Could that have been me?
That's what I'm wondering. What happened? Yes, first advise the member.
First of all, according to our rules, committee members are not supposed to debate their own report in the general debate. But when it comes to the committee stage, they are free to contribute to the debate. We are now at committee stage, not general debate of the report. And I made that at the beginning, but students really are difficult to.
Madam.
And honorable members, Honorable members, we told the Honorable Katuntu to make amendments to the rules. Kindly, if you have an amendment, I don't know if you're still open.
Right Honorable Speaker, we are still open, but let me express my disappointment. I wrote to the office of the law twice, no response. I've written to the office of the chief whip twice, no response. I've written to the clerk's office twice, no response, but we are proceeding. And I wrote to the Dean of Independence actually, and all the whips of parties. There is nobody we have not written to and twice, and none has responded.
I am going to ask the deputy clerk to take responsibility and coordinate all the offices and ensure that we get the amendments. Yes.
Madam Chair, clause 12 states that a person to whom this section applies shall at the time of filing returns submit transfer pricing information to the Commissioner in a format prescribed by the Commission. Madam Chair, we can achieve this without necessarily amending the law. I therefore concede.
Make the proposal.
Madam Chair, that's why I said this is Mr. Sisi went as our accountant. So Madam Chair, I want to move an amendment. I want to move a proposal that clause 12 be deleted from the bill.
I put a question that clause 12 be deleted as proposed by Honorable Nandala and Honorable Musasisi. Those in favor say under control, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 13.
I put a question that clause 13 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say under control, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 14.
14.
Madam Chair, we propose to replace the word international with the word independent, and the new reading to be as follows: Independent Regulatory Board of the East African Power Pool. I submit, Madam Chair.
Proposal is that if you put it at 15.
Oh, yeah.
14.
Clause 14, I put a question that the proposed amendment by Honorable Minister be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the control line, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 14 as amended.
I put a question that clause 14 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the control line, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
15.
Chair, part 4, the proposal is 2% on interest paid. And our proposal is that it be streamlined to the law states 15%. But if it collapses, then they walk away empty-handed. I can see Honorable Musas is very happy with the deletion. We can recommit.
Chair, this is a consequential amendment, so I think Part A will be deleted. I propose that Section 15 be amended by deleting Part A, which is consequential.
I put a question that clause 15 be amended as proposed by Honorable Masaba Karim. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The I
Clause 15 as amended.
I put a question. I put a question that clause 15 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 5. Stood over. Sorry, clause 4.
Clause 4.
We stood over. We stood over.
Clause 4. Hmm.
Byebyo ebiri mu Parlement ku mateeka amajja ku okufuna olw'okukungaanya omusolo ku Bannayuganda. Kale mubiwulidde bulungi era mubitegedde bulungi. Tuyongera okuguma, tuyongera okunywera, tuyongera okwesiba bbiri naye nga ekijja kyo tekigenda kuba kyangu ddala. Mbaagala nnyo mwenna abaliko Abannayuganda mwenna gye musinziira. Mukama Katonda gwe nsaba bankuumire, tujja kuba tuddamu bataayi mweraba.